So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the July 2021 Zoom meeting of the West Virginia Entrepreneurship Ecosystem. Really excited to see so many people coming out during the summer months to participate in our program. We have an exciting program highlight today. Little different for us. We usually highlight one of the entrepreneurship ecosystem partners from West Virginia, but this month we actually have an opportunity to hear about a new initiative that's trying to gain some foothold in the state. They were referenced to us by Jen Simon over at the Appalachian Regional Commission. And it's my pleasure to introduce our program spotlight and her guest. Sonia Moyne is the Senior Director of Urban Business Initiatives at the Initiative for a Competitive Inner City, the partnership with Goldman Sachs, 10,000 Small Businesses, and Santander Bank's Cultivate Small Business programs. Prior to joining ICIC, Sonia worked at the International Finance Corporation, driving business development and knowledge management programs. With a passion for growing the entrepreneurship ecosystem for small businesses, that should ring in with everybody. Sonia's past experiences include bringing business advisory service to social entrepreneurs through economic development organization. Sonia holds a BS in management technology and an MS in energy management. And then her guest and a former participant in the Goldman Sachs program is Dr. Lorena Chambers. And Dr. Chambers is the only Latina and one of only two women to have produced broadcast commercials for a US presidential campaign. In 2020, she was the media strategist for People for the American Way's Latino Vote campaign and the Latina strategist for the Senate Majority PAC to elect John Hickenlooper as the new US Senator from Colorado. She also led the creative team for communication pieces in Georgia to increase the number of Latinx voters in the Senate runoffs. Dr. Chamber is a visiting research affiliate at Yale University, and she's a graduate of UCLA and the University of Michigan, where she received her doctorate in U.S. history. And as we all know, U.S. history majors are good people. So with no further ado, I will turn it over to Sonia to tell us a little bit about ICIC and the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bill. And so nice to meet you all. Bill and I were talking, and we were just saying that. So I met Bill about 2 months ago, and I feel like I've known Bill for a long time now. So I think that's just a testament to the wonderful people in West Virginia. And the reason why I had reached out to Bill and ARC is because, as Bill mentioned, one of the programs that I manage is the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. And for that program, currently we have over 10,000 alumni, 10,000 graduates from the program. But maybe you'll not be surprised, but I was overwhelmingly disappointed when we ran a number to see, how many businesses do we have from each state. And West Virginia, sadly, we've only had 7 people graduate from the program, and Dr. Lorena is one of them. So she graciously volunteered to join this conversation with me today. And with that, I was just saying, this just can't be. So ICIC, we are a research and programmatic nonprofit. We were founded 25 years ago by, if you guys are MBA, I feel like everybody knows this name, Dr. Michael Porter. And the whole premise of ICIC is that there are growing and strong and amazing small businesses in the inner city, in under-resourced areas. And over the years, we've added rural areas to our work, right? And so just given the makeup of West Virginia and the Appalachian region and everything. So, I just thought that we have to fix this situation of just having 7 small businesses go through our program, because I know from all the research we've done that there are strong and growing small businesses in the West Virginia state. And that's how I reached out to Jen at the ARC, and Jen introduced me to Bill, and then Bill invited me to speak with you guys today. So really thank you for that opportunity, Bill. And then I invited Dr. Lorena to join me today because I can only talk so much about the program. I'm sure you all want to hear about what really happens in the program to a business owner. So just to give you guys, and maybe you guys have heard of the 10,000 Small Business Program, but the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program, we're in our 12th year, and the whole goal of it is to support small businesses who are scale their business, right? So this is for business owners who have grown their business to the point that they felt that they could, with the knowledge, with the resources, the local resources, the state resources, and just on their own. But they've grown it to a point where they're just like, I just don't know what to do anymore. Or they could be a business owner that's just like, I founded this business, I have a couple of clients, but I don't know what to do, and I really just want to have somebody help me learn from others and be surrounded by just caring supporting people. So the program provides business education, support services, and also teaching the businesses of how to access capital in this program. I think there are many education programs that are available around the country, in West Virginia, in the region as well. But the one thing that we try to do is be a complementary program to the existing program that you guys might already have, right? So if you are already supporting maybe early stage businesses, the 10KSB program can be a wonderful next step for them. If you're supporting high growth businesses already, who are making revenue in the million, we can be, we can help support them in thinking about that growth opportunity in creating a growth fund. So the business owners that go through the program, what they do is, it's a 10-week virtual program, and after 10 weeks, we bring all our business owners to New York City at the Goldman Sachs office to have them go through the program for a week in their office in New York City, not to just learn from the faculty people who are part of this program, but also from the Goldman Sachs employees, the executives. So it really is that support service that I was referring to you guys about. I do want to say it is at no cost to the small business owner if they're accepted. And when I say no cost, I also mean the travel to New York City, the being in New York City, so the hotel, the food, the everything is paid for by the Goldman Sachs Foundation, because the whole thought behind that is, we want to be a resource for business owners, no matter their background, no matter where they're in terms of their revenue, so that every business owner can get an equal opportunity in accessing this program. Let me see what else. So for the program, there has to be criteria, right? Because we can't support everybody. So for a business owner, they have to be established business. So it is not for startups. You have to have been in business for 2 years, and been making at least $75,000 in revenue. It actually used to be $150,000 in revenue until last year with the pandemic. We really wanted to, again, with the whole thinking behind making this program accessible to business owners from all different backgrounds, no matter their revenue. So we expanded the criteria. So this program is we do it twice a year. You can think of it as like college kind of programming curriculum, so spring and fall, right? And so for the fall classes that start in September, we've actually just wrapped up our application deadline. And so, that's why we thought this is a great opportunity to talk to you right now, because we will be starting our recruitment for the spring cohort of 2022 shortly in August. And I thought, this is a great time to get in front of you guys, tell you about the program. So Bill, thank you for letting me come on today's program. And Lorena, thank you for joining me too. So I'm going to stop here. because I think I just shared a lot of information. I can take a few questions, and then I would love for Lorena to share kind of her experience of actually going through the program, and what she got out of it, and what we both hope other businesses in West Virginia will do too, is take advantage of this program.
I know Guy Peduto has dropped a question, and he was just wondering if we can find out who the 7 companies are, the West Virginia companies that have gone through. Is that secret? Can that be shared?
I can, Guy, that I can definitely look that up for you. I actually don't have it in front of me, but I will need their permission to share, because we do take business owners' information data quite, it's very important to us. Yeah, I see you saying sure. So that's what I'll do.
Okay. If anybody else has questions, they can drop them into the chat, or
Annie Jones asked a great question. What's the next best step if we do have a couple of businesses that might be a good fit? I will share my contact information. What we can do is actually have a conversation with them to give them more information about the program, and then hopefully they will apply. The other thing is, sometimes I do advise businesses that maybe on the cusp of the criteria to still apply to the program, because it doesn't hurt. And then we will always have that contact information in our database, so then we can reach out maybe a year later to say, hey, Anne, you're at $50,000 when you applied. It's a year later. Maybe you reached 75,000. Where are you? How are you? Do you still want to continue? Thank you, Bill, for dropping my info. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I didn't ask permission, but I did drop it in there. So it actually went out. It went out on our agenda as well, everybody. So let's Lorena, if you'd like to unmute, we'll spotlight both of you there for everybody, and talk a little bit about your experience.
Oh, great. Well, thank you for the invitation. It's great to be talking to you all. Just so you know, I'm located in Shepherdstown, West Virginia, which you may or may not know is in the Panhandle. It is only 90 minutes from DC, which is where I started my business. And as a result, obviously, we've spent a lot of time in West Virginia and in Shepherdstown over the last year and a half, especially during the pandemic. I'm surrounded by cows, and I have horses across the way. And you all know the plenty of pests of deer and raccoons and other things. So it's great to be here with you all. And frankly, I was really excited. I got the invitation to see if I would be interested. And I benefited so much from this program that I think I responded literally within minutes and said, I would love to, right? So I'm not going to take too much of your time, but what I did, and it actually makes sense, I reached out to my friends long-lasting friends. So I think, Sonia, I can't remember, it must have been, I went through the program maybe 5 years ago. And I'm still in contact with many of the friends that I made there, which is really incredible because they're all amazing business people. They're all amazing individuals. They're from all parts of the country. That was so interesting. It wasn't just West Virginians. Obviously, I was the only one there in the program during the year, during that particular session, but I made friends from across the country. And so I can tell you that the top 3 things that the 3 of us, I texted them and they all texted back within 10 minutes about the top 3 things. And we all agreed is that first and foremost, we really learned how to get in-depth knowledge about our own financials. Now, I'm sure that you know how to read your own P&Ls, your own financial statements. I obviously knew how to read mine. But we went through an entire exercise, I think it was a whole day's work, where we did the homework and we studied someone else's financials. And what that allowed us to do was to realize, okay, if we want to purchase another business, we need to learn how to read someone else's financials. Also, the inverse, if someone's going to purchase our business and we need to know what the value of it is, then we need to know also how they're looking at their financials and what are the points they're looking at. So understanding the financials really deeply was incredibly important to all 3 of us. And we actually still to this day talk about how much we learned going through the program. The second thing was the confidence in explaining what it is that we do, right? There's an entire, frankly, it's a theme. And, I'm sure the curriculum changes and adapts, but there's a theme throughout the I don't know what's 5, 6, 7 weeks, but then you go and you make an in-person presentation where you have to put together your elevator pitch and know exactly how to tell someone literally in 30 seconds and also 90 seconds, what is it you do? How do you differentiate yourself? And frankly, why people should hire you or basically contract your business. And I know that sounds very easy to do, and maybe you've done it already, but right then and there, you're getting a lot of feedback from all of these amazing other business owners. And it really has been incredible when just talking about what it is that we do. So that's really great. And then, of course, pulling full circle, the last thing, but really the most important, was the networks of people that we created and the friendships that we've created, and understanding and learning from each other. So what I thought was really fascinating was, I mean, mind you, I certainly was not in this level, but there was an entire whole cohort where they were like 5, 10, $15 million businesses or more, right? They're really huge, super successful. They make hundreds and millions of widgets, I guess, and they just have been in business for a very long time. But Goldman Sachs did a really wonderful thing of separating us out so that we basically were in a cohort where the revenue and sales were actually very similar, not only to our class of, I think, Sonia, 40 or 45, but then we were put in pods of 5 and 6. And then those services were very much alike. So you work in a small group and then you work in a classroom group, but your pod is who you bond with over those 6, 7 weeks when you're doing your online classes. And it really was amazing. And then I think, and again, I was flown to Boston. We were at this point, the program was up in Boston. It was really great. And we were actually flown twice and we were there for an entire week. So it does require a commitment, right? You really, number one thing, and I know it's really hard when you're your own entrepreneur, your own CEO, you have to find someone else to run your business during that week. Like you just can't be working off your phone in between classes and what have you. You really have to be deeply entrenched in what you're studying and what your discussions are about. But it's so incredibly worthwhile. And then the last thing I would say is, because it is a lot of work, you're committed every week, you also learn a lot. And you have to keep up with the readings, you have to keep up with the homework, to be able to basically give back to the discussion, but also absorb what other people are saying about what they've learned and their experience. And it really is amazing. And so these folks and networks that we created actually then turn into these amazing alumni events. I mean, there are huge get-togethers yearly where we have someone, we had an entire contingent of Puerto Rican businesses, and they come up to Virginia. Man, it's a huge party when they show up. It's like, we're there, and we get together, and we've had lunches, we've had dinners, and not so much obviously in the last year and a half, but certainly the Zooms have taken off. And I think now that everyone's more comfortable with Zoom, I think it's actually a lot easier to understand how the weekly discussions and homework and sessions and lessons are going. So I would definitely encourage you to look into it. Like Sonia said, apply to it. They're not going to, trust me, if you're making $100,000 a year, they're not going to put you with a $30 million business, right? Because it really is like apples and oranges. And frankly, it's too much. But they're going to really work hard to put you in with folks that you can work with and learn from, and frankly, strengthen your business. So I've taken other programs too, where the minimum was $1 million. I barely made that, in terms of total revenue. But the fact that they actually have this lower number, it really is an amazing opportunity. So I encourage you to sign up for this wild and wonderful program, a play off of our own state motto, and actually really ask Sonia and others about other questions that you may have. And I really encourage you to really think about it. And it really is exciting, whether you've only been in business 2 years or 5 or 10. I've owned my business since 2004. So I'm like a little bit past the 15-year mark. And I intentionally have chosen to not grow my business with hundreds or dozens of employees, right? We're like a core 10 to 12 people. And because we do electoral work, obviously it's very cyclical. So every 2 years, I'm very, very busy. This year, I'm sort of taking it low, but next year, obviously, it's going to come back and be very busy. So it really is wonderful to have them listen to what your business is about, and then they give you feedback so it fits you, as opposed to sort of a textbook case of what a successful business is. So anyhow, I can't speak enough about how wonderful it was. I, again, learned a lot of networks, gained a lot of friends, but learned a lot about the financials, and it really has helped me. So thank you for the opportunity to speak with you all, and I look forward to answering some questions.
The first question that I got in here, and I think it's more for Sonia, is how many businesses do you all take into the program every year, Sonia?
Yeah, great question. I forgot to mention that. So per cohort, we accept 150 businesses around the country, and this also includes Puerto Rico, Alaska, Hawaii. We actually have alumni from Guam as well. I think 2 alumni. And so that's around 300 to 320 businesses per year for this set of businesses to go through this cohort. I did want to mention that, if you are on our website, you will see that the program is actually delivered locally in 19 markets. But unfortunately, we don't have a local site in West Virginia or anywhere around that. But we have them in Miami, in Dallas, in New Orleans, New York. So there are local markets where the program is actually delivered locally. We're now going back to face for that. So if you do know somebody in those other markets, of course, please feel free to share that. It's still, again, at no cost to the business owner. But the local programs take place 3 times a year, and we are accepting about 35 businesses per cohort for the local businesses. But because bringing people together to New York City or to Boston, as Lorena had the opportunity to do, is so much work. We only do it twice a year, but we've increased the capacity for that. I did, as Lorena was talking, I was just thinking, I forgot to mention something. If you are the executive director of your chamber or of your nonprofit, you can actually also apply. So this is not just for profit. We've actually had nonprofits go through. It's not a large number of nonprofits that have gone through the program, but we do get them, 2 per cohort or 3 per cohort. So I also encourage you to think about, you as a leader, if you feel that this is something you could benefit from going through for your nonprofit.
Another question's come in while we were talking, and that's,
oh, sure.
Is there a maximum number of years? We realize the minimum is 2, but are you looking specifically for those newer entrepreneurs, or if your business has been operational for a while?
That's a great, so to give you guys some data points, the average age of our businesses is actually 11 years. So we've had businesses like family, generational businesses who's been in business for 30 years, and now they want to leave the business to their kids and they want to grow it more. So they'll actually apply with that hope. And for revenue, our average or median revenue is around $750,000. Our average is $1.3 million, just because we've had a couple of businesses go through the program with like $30 million in revenue, and one was $50 million in revenue. And I'm just like, what can we teach you at 50 million? But what happened was they actually won a couple of government contracts, and they're like, we're actually a business that's been in business for 7 years, and we don't know what we're doing, and we don't know what to do with all this money. And I'm like, I wish every business owner had your problem, but yeah, like that, this is a great problem to have. So yeah, so they did skew the number a bit for us.
If anybody else has any questions, you can take yourself off mute now. We're about to wrap up with this portion of the program. So, or
and, Bill, can I just share 2 more data points?
Sure.
That I love. Okay. So one was, Lorena kept on talking about, I'm still friends with people, right? Like, so 85 of our graduates have done businesses together. So that's what the data point has shown. And then over 60% of our graduates have increased their revenue 6 months after graduation. So we do a lot of work in collecting data post-program, where they're completing some surveys, so we know how our graduates are doing. And so that's what the data have shown too. So, yeah. Thanks
Oh,
for
that's
letting me
great.
share that.
Oh yeah. And again, I want to thank Lorena and Sonia for coming out today. We will, again, the notes will be out. The link will be in the notes when they come out, and Sonia's email contact was in the chat and will be in the notes as well. So if you want to get a hold of her, if you have good prospective businesses that could benefit from participation, I know she'd love to see some come in from West Virginia.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Guy, I'll get that information for you. It might take us a little bit long to get everyone's approval. Thank you, Bill, for letting us join or crash your meeting today. Lorena, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you both. We really appreciate it. I think it's a super exciting opportunity.
Thanks, everyone. It's really great.
Thanks. Okay, we are gonna segue now over to Anne. Anne got pulled in by Carrie White, who was going to talk to us about Global Entrepreneurship Week, and had another commitment come up. So she pulled in Anne to talk to us a little bit about what Startup WV is going to be doing with Global Entrepreneurship Week this year.
Cool. Well, hey, thanks. And I just want to give a huge thanks to you guys, Sonia, about sharing about this. I've heard about this program, and from my times working in New York, you know, I definitely have heard of people who've gone through it. So you just watch yourself, because that whole program is going to be filled with West Virginia businesses before you know it. So, and on this, so here's something that's interesting that's going on again for West Virginia businesses that Carrie wanted to make sure I share with everyone. So Global Entrepreneurship Week. It's a week that takes place each November. It's global, hence the name. This year, it's going to be November 8th through 14th. And what it is, it's the world's largest celebration of innovators and job creators who launch startups, bring ideas to life, and drive economic growth, as well as entrepreneur support organizations that support them, like us. So one of the things, you know, and I'm going to share some links. Different countries are involved, and within the United States, states are involved in putting in programming. So again, like ICIC, West Virginia is not yet on the map on this program. And so we are looking right now for people who might be interested in being a state coordinator or a community organizer for this program. And I'm going to put some key links, I think I've got it, on here. But for a state coordinator would be responsible for helping recruit community organizers across the state. Again, this is for a November program. We'll be able to help source speakers, VIPs, sort of understand what different global entrepreneurship week activities that might be going on in West Virginia. They're not necessarily required to plan any activities, but to monitor them. And then we also we're looking for a community organizer. So those are individuals who would be involved in some of the local ecosystem, be able to galvanize some of the participation around the state. So there are a couple of really cool things going on. Please look at the links that I put on there. This is something that I think, again, just like, you know, the 10,000 small businesses, West Virginia should definitely be sort of waving the flag, saying we're small, but we're mighty here. So if anybody's interested in being involved, you can either go through these links or contact me directly. I'll put my email here.
Already dropped it in for you, Anne.
Oh, you did? My work is done. So that's it. Did I miss anything, Bill?
I think that's it. I think we're good.
Right.
I'll put those links again in the notes as we send them out. So when the notes come out to you, you'll have them ready to see. And then if you want to get in touch with Anne or Carrie, just let them know.
Hey, thanks so much.
And we are now going to ask Carrie, or not Carrie, or Nora. Sorry, and by myself today, so I'm recording and doing a lot of different things at one time. So, yeah, Nora Myers, the director of the Women's Business Center, offered to come on and give us an update. So, Nora, if you want to give us a quick update on the growth at the Women's Business Center here in West Virginia.
Yes, I would love to do that. Thank you so much, Bill, for asking us to be here. Is everybody awake? Because I have a really loud voice, and so I want everybody to get energized about the exciting growth that we have at the West Virginia Women's Business Center. Some of you have heard this before. Some of you, it's been a few months since I've chatted with you, so hopefully this will be a great update. But I am Nora Myers. I am the Executive Director of the West Virginia Women's Business Center. And I'll just give you a quick background, but you don't have to write anything down because Bill is going to send out a little quick fact sheet to everybody post-meeting. So the Women's Business Center, there have been Women's Business Centers in West Virginia before. There was one at WVU. There was one that ran for several years that Tara Elder ran in Beckley very successfully. There's been a couple of others, but we are a program of the Natural Capital Investment Fund. We are one of 136 women's business centers across the United States. I believe the only state that doesn't have one right now is Alaska. So we're really excited to be here representing the Women's Business Center here for West Virginia. And actually, I should say that we are 2 of 136 centers because we have a center in Charleston, we have a center in Fairmont, and we kind of divide the state a little bit. And I'll introduce you. I believe Kristen Beveridge is on, and if she's got her camera on, she can wave, but she is our program manager advisor for, she's attached to the Fairmont office. She lives in Pocahontas County, and she kind of handles that northern and eastern corridor. So she's over in the Eastern Panhandle. She's through the Mon Forest region up into Fairmont, Clarksburg, Morgantown area. And then the Charleston area, of course, handles Charleston and Beckley and Huntington and Parkersburg and down into the New River Gorge region and on up around the state. So we've covered the whole state covered with our 2 centers. And I think Karen Friel's on the line. So I also want to say that we are a resource partner of the SBA. We are funded in part by the Federal Small Business Administration. We have a wonderful SBA office here in West Virginia. The entire staff's fantastic. The other resource partner that everybody knows is the SBDC, the Small Business Development Center, who's also just been a great partner and collaborator to us as we've gotten launched. So let me just jump real quick. We are a women's business center. We do target women and minority-owned businesses who have historically been underserved, maybe not having the same access to resources. That's who we target, but we will serve any small business that wants to use our services. And our services are one-to-one advising. We offer a lot of trainings and workshops. We are getting ready to launch, and I'll tell you about this in a minute, our mentoring program in August, and we provide technical assistance as well. We do have one workshop coming up that I do want to promote. I'm very excited that the Women's Business Center is a partner with AARP Foundation, offering for the first time in the state of West Virginia a Work for Yourself at 50 plus. And the AARP Foundation has a mission of basically trying to combat elder age poverty, if you will. And West Virginia, for those of you who know the demographics well in this state, we have an older population, and we do have a lot of people that are either living in poverty or bumping up against the edge of it. And a lot of people over 50 want to have opportunities, and they've got some skill sets, and maybe they've spent years in the workforce and it's time to work for themselves. And so we're doing a workshop next week, and I will also send that link around to you after the meeting is over. And I encourage you to share the information with your networks, and if you know of individuals who might like to take this, just 2 hours, 5 to 7 on Tuesday evening. But those are some of the things that we're trying to offer to get to historically underserved markets. And we partner and collaborate with a whole slew of people around the state, including many of you here on the phone. And we feel really fortunate to have a really strong advisory board and really great relationships and partners. I see half the people on here are people that we've worked with. And it's great to work with you. So physical offices, where you can find us and how you can engage with us. Physical offices are on the west side of Charleston in the Gaddy Engineering Building. We are co-located there with one of the lenders from the NCI Fund. And in the West Virginia High Tech Consortium, also co-located with Kevin O'Connor, from those of you know him, and Justin White is the lender in Charleston. Online, I'll send you the link to that. Telephone, email, you can have all of that. But as you can see, I'm working from my home today. You can always reach me on my personal cell if you happen to have that as well. So if there's a moment, Kristen, are you on? I would love for you guys to meet Kristen Beveridge and have her say hello. There's a lot of activity going on in that Clarksburg to Morgantown corridor. The Eastern Panhandle is exploding. Lots of activity in the tourism and recreation of the Mon Forest region. There's a lot of exciting things, and Kristen's on top of all of that. Or apparently maybe she's at the beach. Where is she? Where are you, Kristen?
Says she's on.
Yeah, I saw her earlier, but I just thought she could take a minute to wave. There she is.
Yeah.
Oh, bad audio.
Bandwidth. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, so at least you guys can see your face. Yeah.
Ooh.
I did. Okay, so we've lost Kristen, but anyway, you can get Kristen's contact information from me. And Kristen's primary purpose is to, like I said, run that section of the state, offering the one-to-one advising and helping us plan our training. Oh, and I did mention our mentoring program that we're launching in August. We're really, she just texted me and said, well, darn. So she'll be back. That is the downside sometimes to being in the beautiful Mon Forest region, is you don't always have reliable internet. But in any case, our mentoring program we're very excited about, and we're hoping that this will be a hallmark program for the Women's Business Center. We are using a very robust software platform called Cronus. And we are developing a statewide network for mentoring, for both traditional one-to-one mentoring as well as peer mentoring groups. And we'll be launching that in August, but I would love to share that information with this group sooner, because I would love to have mentors and maybe some mentees already signed up. And while we will be seeding the program with maybe a dozen or so mentoring groups, cohort mentoring groups, they can be developed by anybody who's engaged in the system. So for example, we could have Black women business owners of the Southern Coalfields, could be a peer mentoring group. You could have, Kristen's favorite is millennial bike shop owners of West Virginia. And so that could be a statewide group of people who have a shared interest. So we can do geographic, we can do demographic, we can do industry. We're going to lay some of those out, but again, people can come together and create their own peer mentoring groups. And of course, the whole system will be managed, and people can select a mentor. You get to go in. It's almost like Facebook. You go in and you look at the profiles of the potential mentors and see if you're a match. The algorithm will match you, and you can choose someone and reach out to them and have a mentoring relationship. The best part is that you can sign up to be both a mentor and a mentee, which I think is fantastic, because so many of us have things we can contribute in an area where we're an expert, but we're all still learning. And there might be other areas where we might like to have a mentor. So you can participate as much as you want, as little as you want, and you can come in and out of the system over time as your needs and your businesses grow. So, and I think there was a question. Yeah, okay, great. So Anne is asking how she can provide potential mentor-mentee information to us. Until we get the official sign up, I'm just going to do a WooFoo form and have people just drop in information. And if you know somebody, like if you want to just recommend somebody or even recommend yourself, all I need is name and a way to get a hold of them. and then we can talk to them and give them more information before they commit. So expressing interest does not commit you to the program, but I would love to get a list of names, and Ann, I will send out a WFU form to everybody here on this. So I think I've probably talked over my allotted 6 minutes. So I'm going to stop now and see if anybody has any additional questions.
Anybody has any other
Hey,
questions?
Nora.
Yes.
This is Kristen, if anyone can hear me. Sorry, I dropped off the call there, but I did just want to quickly introduce myself. So my name is Kristen Beveridge, and I am the business advisor / program manager for the West Virginia Women's Business Center. And I am located here in the heart of the beautiful Monongahela National Forest in Pocahontas County, West Virginia. So please, if you are in the area, look me up and I would be happy to show you around. But yeah, just wanted to introduce myself quickly before hopefully I do not drop off the call.
She drops off the call.
Wow,
again.
she drops off the call. Neither
That's-
the first nor the last person to have
Yes,
internet connection
yes.
issues in West Virginia.
But honestly, this shows us, we all on this call know this, but this shows what our clients go through who live in the more rural areas of West Virginia. I mean, this is an issue. So how do we help them run their business, manage their business, and when they don't always have reliable connectivity. So this is definitely a problem that we all face. But yeah, we do have, of course, initiatives that are statewide, but we will have things that are unique to the regions that we serve because they're not exactly the same. There's definitely more population growth, for example, in the Eastern Panhandle than there is in the Southern coal fields. So we're adapting our different centers to respond to those needs. So.
Great.
Any other questions about the Women's Business Center or how to work with us?
I did get a question in, and that's who should they contact for help out of the Charleston office? Is that you, Nora?
Yeah, contact me. Oh yeah, and that's a great question. Thank you for prompting me. Yes, we just posted a position. In fact, I'm not even sure if it's up today. HR said they'd get it up today. For a program manager advisor for the Charleston office. So the Kristen of Charleston. But it could be somebody out of, Beckley, Huntington, Parkersburg, somebody that's going to cover this region. So we do have a job opening, and would be happy to share that job posting with anybody if you know folks. But for right now, absolutely contact me for Charleston, and we'll get you some help.
And Nora, if you want to send that to me,
Yeah.
I can drop that in when we send out the notes as well to help you.
Yeah,
out.
that sounds great. So yeah, I think I've got 3 things I need to send you. By the way, this is the great work for yourself over 50. This is a great course on that AARP foundation that we're doing next week. I'm really excited. I do think this is a population that maybe doesn't get as much attention. The over 50 crowd, they can often be very successful first-time small business owners and entrepreneurs. A lot of them are running micro enterprises, and I think that's an untapped area for us. And so I'm really hoping that we get a good turnout for that. So
I was just reading an article. I can even drop it into the notes yesterday about the higher success rate of older entrepreneurs, and it's much higher success rate than young entrepreneurs. I mean, that makes sense. You've got more resources, you've got more life experience coming in. So thank you, Kristen, for dropping in that link.
Oh, great, thank you. Kristen.
Okay. I can admit to being a little jealous of Nora. When the opportunity came open to do the Women's Business Center, I was still at my former employer, and we worked on an application for like 3 weeks, and then they told us we were ineligible to apply because of how we were centered in the university where we were. And but super excited that the program did get funded here in West Virginia. It was a big need for us to have a Women's Business Center, and to do the two, I think, is awesome. So I'm really excited to have that program back.
I do want to give a shout out to Hannah Vargason, who many of you know, who is the one that landed the SBA grants for the Natural Capital Investment Fund. And for them, it was an extension of their mission. And so we've been thrilled to work with them. And I really want to, give them all of the credit for bringing a Women's Business Center back to the state of West Virginia. And of course, they're smart moving, hiring me to run it. So no, just kidding. But but this has been a lot of fun. And I do want to give a shout out to my team. Sonia Kelly is not with us today because she is handling a SBA Office of Women's Business Ownership monthly meeting that's happening right now. So she's covering that for us. But she is our grants administrator, and she handles everything: grant, accounting, finance. She does some training workshops. She does everything. She's fantastic. So, you know, we launched this in the middle of a pandemic. We've been hiring and team building virtually. We've been trying to deliver services virtually. It's been really interesting, but I have to say we're pretty excited to hopefully be transitioning beyond COVID and sort of moving into a little bit more normal existence. So it's a very exciting time of growth.
Well, thank you again, Nora. We appreciate that. And again, Nora's contact information will be in the notes for those of you that don't know her or don't have her new contact information and know her from her former life. So we just a quick note from me on the BusinessLink kickoff, and that's we are still set for our soft launch on August 10th. Thank you to those of you on here who have registered yourself as a resource partner. And we are excited. We have 101 resource partners registered across the state so far. So the original challenge was to maybe get 50. And I told them I thought that our ecosystem was stronger than that. And they said, well, then maybe 75. And I said, I think our ecosystem's stronger than that. So then they said, if you could get 100 by launch date, we'll be really happy. And we are about 2 months out from launch date, a month from soft launch. And due to your all's great response, we have 101 registered right now. So super excited that effort goes forward. And then we'll be doing our big launch to the public on September, the week of SBA Small Business Week, September 13th to the 15th, in coordination with the SBDC and SBA office here in the state. So we're really excited to see how that all moves forward. And hopefully I can stop talking about the theoretical impacts of this program and start talking about what we're doing for entrepreneurs here in West Virginia.
Bill?
Yes.
This is Sherilyn Sagaster with the Veteran Business Outreach Center for West Virginia. And I'd love to be one of those resource partners that you can count on.
Sure.
My team and I are located here at Norfolk, Virginia, Old Dominion University. And this is the 9th year I've been working with and my team for West Virginia, advocating for you guys, everything that we can do from a distance. But I've been working right now, I'm working with Ann Jones. We're getting ready to put together a training for Boots to Business, which is for those veterans of any era that has either started a business and they want to grow it, they want to scale it, or if they haven't started a business, but they've always wanted to. Boots to Business is fantastic. So I just wanted to throw that in there. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to say, I'm excited that we could be one to add to your resources there in the area.
Yeah, Sherilyn, we would love to have you. If you would drop me an email, I just sent you my email and we can connect and I'll get you signed up.
As a matter of fact, I had you on my list that I have here.
I'm on a lot of people's lists.
You're on a lot of people's lists. Yes, I kind of gathered that because I think, as a matter of fact, I think I called you and left a message a few weeks ago.
Okay.
To have been on another West Virginia call, and they kept talking about Bill Woodrum, and I was like, that's somebody I got to get to know. I got to reach out to.
Okay.
For sending me your contact info, and I'll send you an email back. I'm in the process of planning my trip to West Virginia. West Virginia, it'll probably be towards the end of August, first part or middle of September. So maybe I could stop in and help you guys with your national small business event. That
would be great. I'm always right here.
Yeah. And so ladies, I hope to get to know each and every one of you. Nora, we have our own Women's Business Center here at Old Dominion University. I've been working with Erica Small-Cisco here this is our 9th year together as colleagues.
Very nice. Yeah,
She's just 2 doors down from me.
Nice.
Yeah. So we do a lot together. So I'm looking so forward and excited to work with all of you guys that are out there making it happen every day for our West Virginians. And broadband. I may have some good news on broadband to bring to you from SBA headquarters, but I don't want to say anything yet. But I think there's some good stuff coming.
All right. Thank you, Sherilyn. And then we'll connect. Just drop me an email and we'll connect and get you signed up. Tyler, do we have anything on the training calendar coming up? Anything that people need to be aware of? As always, if you see your agenda, there's a link there to the Google Calendar. We will begin to transition that at some point. West Virginia BusinessLink and Tyler's work has been yeoman's work on keeping up that Google Calendar, but I know it's a lot of work. We'll have a self-filling calendar on BusinessLink that everybody will be able to use, and that'll be part of the soft launch next month, is trying to twist your all's arms to add some of your upcoming events so you can look, and hopefully we can avoid scheduling over top of each other. I think we are through. Did Dave Gilpin ever make it on today? A little bird told me Dave had a new career opportunity and he's not on, but he has been such a great support for the system out of the West Virginia Secretary of State's office that I wanted to recognize him. I wish he was on here today, but if you know Dave, he's been doing the connections for the One Stop Center in Charleston and for their whole network out of the Secretary of State's office. And I don't know exactly what he's going on to, but I've heard he's moving on from the Secretary of State's office. So if everybody could take a moment and drop a line to him, I know he'd appreciate it. He's worked really hard the last few years to support small business, and especially the work that Secretary Warner and the Secretary of State's office is doing. Anybody else? Anything for the good of the order? We still have a few minutes left. We always try and contain it within the hour. If you do, go ahead and unmute yourself. And if you don't unmute yourself here pretty quick, we're gonna call it an accomplished meeting and be done. And thank you so much. I can still see Sonia is online, and we appreciate so much, her not just talking, but coming and hanging out with us for the rest of the time so she can learn a little bit more about the ecosystem here in West Virginia. I think we're really building something that we can be proud of, and this is the way. Okay, nobody else has popped out. Last chance, or it's over. Okay, thank you all. We so much appreciate you coming out. Again, thank you to our presenters and to the participants and to the ecosystem. I think we're building something really special here. So let's keep the momentum going forward. Thank you all. We'll see you next month on August 10th.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Bill.
Sonia.
Bye-bye.